Hey,
Well, hello there. Good afternoon. How are you, Willy?
I am good. I took my little power snooze as I do during my days off, and feeling I'm feeling better, refreshed. So
Good,
welcome,
good.
welcome back, Jimmy.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, happy to be back. Ugh, it's been a rough couple of weeks. Man, a lot of people I've been noticing are having a really tough mental health problems the last couple of weeks. So at least I know I'm not out there alone, but just starting fresh this weekend. New person, new me, all of that.
I try to be a new me every week, and
Yeah.
somehow the same old me keeps resurging.
Oh yeah, I'm still always gonna be
Yeah,
me, of course. But yeah, yeah,
but
it's nice. It's good.
well, certainly not. Certainly, strange times that we live in and all. So
Yeah, yeah, especially yeah, with, us, at least us in the United States living with the bare minimum and then seeing all the wreckage going on around the world too. It's kind of mentally hard to handle for everybody for sure. Yeah.
yeah. And just the usual upside down shit in this country too. I mean,
Right.
it seems like things just gets more bizarre all the time. But
Right. Right.
yeah, one has to look at it and try to find a way to keep your sanity looking at it. So
Yeah, that's the hard part.
exactly. So
Yeah. Especially like hanging out with a lot of people who are very Americanized, very mentally propagandized American wise. It's that whole separation of things. Like the thing I've been hearing is like, why are you so worried about what's going on thousands of miles away when you have your own shit to deal with here? It's like, why can't you empathize with people that's 1,000 miles away? That's weird. So
yeah, and I'll tell them what happens over there affects us over here. And I don't mean that we don't fight them over there. We're going to be fighting them over here. Because
right.
I remember I used to hear that quite a bit.
Yep, yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. What's up, P stuff? Sorry, I want to answer this. Fires are good. There was a little bit of a flare up, but it started going the opposite way. My parents and everybody are all back home again. So they've pretty much got it contained. What was really crazy, it was like we had that couple of days of the fire, and then like one single day we had a storm come in. Just we over here got a bunch of rain. Out by where my mom and my where the fire was going, they got snow. So it like snowed for a fucking day, which was wild to me. And then like the next day it was back to normal. So that snow that they had up there, like that tiny little bit of snow that they got, kind of helped out the fire immensely. That was to the east of me. To the west of me, I think they've got the fire contained. It's a little bit further. There's like a huge freeway that's separating this mountain and that mountain. But they lost like a whole ass town, like people, a bunch of people who had lived there their whole lives had lost their homes. There's like a guy that was there. He was like 75 years old or something, and his parents had lived there, and so his parents gave him that house, and he had been there his whole life, and he was 75 years old, and that whole house was just burnt. There was nothing left of that house. That poor fucking guy's just, that's all he's known his whole life is that house, and it's gone. It's just gone. So it's happening, but it's all the fires that we've had here are definitely slowing down, which has been really nice. So
And it was actually snowing.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
I'm just trying to imagine that because
just one random day. Yeah.
I know it's a different part of the country. I realize that and everything, but
Right.
just I
And
keep asking.
it's not your typical California where I live either, like I'm 5,000 feet above sea level elevation compared to like Los Angeles, which is only like, maybe 1,000 feet or whatever. So, it's a lot different down in like in California where the cities are, where it's like summer all the time, and they probably just got a little bit of clouds or something that day, or whatever. But I live up 5,000 feet elevation. My mom lives, I think, up close to like 6 or 7,000 feet elevation. So, yeah, we when a cloud coverage comes over the city, we actually get hit with a little bit of rain or something like that because we're at cloud level. So
Well, I mean, that I realized. I just a friend of mine that lives in Montana told me with the way climate change work, he used to see snow in September, like fairly early in September, when he was growing up, and now it's like it's way into October, and I just have a tough time, conceptualizing that down here in North Carolina, even when we had like even back in the days we had normal winters.
right. Yeah, no, that's the same out here too. We used to start getting snow around like October, November sometime, and it's just getting later and later. And like the couple years ago, I mean, it's either we're getting no snow and then January or February it hits us all at once, like a couple years ago when we were stuck in this house for 2 weeks because there was so much snow that we couldn't even get out of our house. We were like snowed into our own house. We had dug snow trenches from our front door to the street for like days and days and days, but there was just nowhere else to put the snow. We couldn't find anywhere else to put it to get it out of the way. So yeah, the weather out here for the last few years, just in the 10 years that I've lived up in this mountain to experience those extremes has been way different. Before then, I always lived in the Mojave Desert my whole fucking life. So yeah, towards the last few years that I lived in the Mojave Desert, it definitely was hotter than it normally should be during the summer. Like I remember summertime out there, it get to 98, 99, 100. But before I left, man, it was getting up to 115, 117 degrees out there just in the normal towns. That's not even including like the Air Force Base where they have like huge dry lake beds where it's just intensifies the heat even more. So that's like my second job was I owned a business out there at Edwards Air Force Base at cleaning detailing cars out in the sun, and that shit out there would get up to like 120, 125 degrees out there. So I've seen it out there, but definitely up here in the mountains I've seen it a lot more, especially like with the fire that just went happen, and then the one day of snow. It's so fucking weird. It's so weird.
Wow. I just can't, I'm trying to conceptualize, I know it's a dry heat in the Mojave Desert, but just trying to conceptualize, you know, uh, over 100 and 105 or whatever, and it gets to be 100. You said like 117, you said?
117 was the hottest day I remember out there before I left. Yeah.
uh,
I
yeah.
know, it's crazy. The Mojave Desert's like literally on fire.
Oh, oh my God.
Yeah,
Yeah. There's
it
no
gets
way
nuts
in
out
hell.
there.
No way in
I know.
hell.
I
And
know. I bought a lot of smoothies. A lot of smoothies.
my parents live in Puerto Rico, as you know, and when I talk to mom and dad on the phone, I mean, my mother is used to the warmer weather. Before taking them to the airport, where it was getting where the heat was starting to fade away a little bit, and the humidity. She was complaining about how too much of a nip in the air it was. I'm like, I'm loving it. I am loving it
Wow.
right now. And
Yeah.
so,
But you guys had that hurricane recently too, right?
yeah,
Helene?
well, up in the mountains, we
Okay.
had it. We didn't have it in my neck of the woods, but that's another thing with the hurricanes. Going deep inland, that doesn't really happen all that often.
Uh-huh. Yeah, the trajectory of these hurricanes are definitely out of whack than what they normally are, which just goes to show that, that these hurricanes, they go this trajectory because that's, that's what helps them build up. It's the warmth to the cold and all of that. And so you could tell by the way that these things are changing their directions that obviously there's something in the atmospheric temperature that's changing them to make them go different ways as well. So there is things that are changing for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you guys are okay because, man, I saw some of those videos from Florida. Like, I saw that house that was floating by, and motherfucker was like in a kayak floating in his living room. There was a woman on her deck, like on her second story deck, was she was just saying, seeing all the water, like I fucked up. There was like a fucking an alligator like swimming down a street. This shit's nuts to me. I couldn't even. I mean, I couldn't imagine. Yeah, that's. I mean, I deal with fires and earthquakes and shit, but flooding is a whole nother fear for me. I don't know if I could handle it.
Now, Hurricane Fran in 2000, it devastated the eastern part of, I mean, literally devastated eastern North Carolina. I mean, like, we're talking about, we're talking about, the colleges were closed. They had to close the colleges for a brief period of time. We're talking about floodings, which we don't want, we may on the Outer Banks get a little bit of damage from a hurricane occasionally, but it's not really so terrible here in North Carolina that much. But in 2000, it hit it real bad. I mean, and it was a small town called Tarboro, a little sleepy nothing town. And on the news, it was like a coffin was actually floating down the main street of town. I mean, I mean, imagine seeing how creepy it is to seeing a coffin floating down the street.
Yeah, no, fuck that.
Yeah.
Mm-mm-mm. That's what I heard. Like the East, when I went to Boston, I heard they said that that's why like a lot of the cemeteries are above ground cemeteries, and they're covered in like a cement or concrete around it on top, is because when the flooding comes in, if you're buried underground, there's a chance or a possibility that the dirt might turn up and it could unbury you. So they make sure you're in concrete and some people do above ground cemeteries.
The only cemeteries I went to like that, where it's all above ground, I don't think it has to do with flooding. Is in Puerto Rico. I don't know
Okay.
why, but I mean, but I think, I mean, in their case, I just,
Well, I think, yeah, in Puerto Rico, they're just running out of room, aren't they?
well, I don't know. You see, I don't know. It is a cramped place in a lot of ways, but I don't know if it's so cramped that that's why they're doing it. I'm not so familiar with
Okay.
as far as an explanation.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, I've
yeah.
never seen an above ground cemetery until I went to Boston on the East Coast. Up out here in California, everybody's buried underground. I've never seen
Everybody,
anything like that.
almost everybody's buried underground in North Carolina. There are some above ground, you know,
Right.
yeah, but I just think there are people that had the money to pay for it to be above ground, and they,
Right.
yeah, and
Yep.
it, it's like, oh, go ahead and honor me and my death. It's just that's what it seems like to me. So
Right. Yep. No, yep, I agree. I mean, I ain't gonna hate though too, because I would love that. I want like a walk-in tomb where my body's like right in the middle of the tomb when you walk down the stairs into it, like a fucking vampire tomb. Yeah.
oh, uh, yeah,
I'll have like animatronic bats just kind of like fly out every time somebody opens the door.
you got me thinking of Dark Shadows. So
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
so when you watch I'm supposed you watched the movie with Johnny Depp, the Dark Shadows movie back then.
Of course, I've seen almost
Yeah.
every Johnny Depp movie.
So what we should take on that? I mean,
It was good.
compared to the actual TV show from the '60s.
It was good. It was good. I liked how they still kept it goofy enough to where it felt, not kind of too much of a remake. It kind of felt like it was this, taken from that. So,
Well, Johnny Depp was a little annoyed. I found out about the movie because he really wanted to play the part of Barnabas Collins and like play the serious. He really wanted to make the movie serious,
yeah.
and they were like, "No, we're going to make it a spoof."
Yeah. I
He was
liked it.
Yeah, I like that. One of my coworkers, I went to see it with one of my coworkers. She saw it because she was like a big Tim Burton fan, big Johnny Depp fan, and I'm
Me
good
too.
with Tim Burton. I'm good with Johnny Depp, but I watched it because I am a fanatic about the actual TV show from the 1960s.
Okay.
I have seen every episode, and I just I love Dark Shadows. I mean, uh, I'll go through my I go through my this time of year I go through a Dark Shadows binge on my free time. I'll watch as much Dark Shadows as imaginable.
Oh wow, yeah. Okay, cool. I didn't know that. I've only seen bits and pieces of Dark Shadow, so
Oh yeah, yeah. The actor that played Barnabas Collins, Jonathan Frid, I felt sorry for him because I think he was a very good actor, but he got typecast as that role after Dark Shadows stopped airing in 1971. The only movies you would see him in are movies where it's a horror thing. He's not necessarily playing a vampire, but he's playing is he's playing kind of an adjacent role to what he was playing as Barnabas Collins. I mean, he
okay.
was made for that role, obviously, but
Right.
it's the only way you can kind of think of him because, when you're an actor and you get typecast a certain way, sometimes it can actually, uh, even if you're successful, it can, sometimes you resent being known as that kind of a person. If you happen to be that actor or actress.
Right. No, I
Yeah,
agree.
I'll give you an example. Peter Sellers, uh, great comedian when he was alive, a great actor. He hated the fact that Inspector Clouseau was his meal ticket. He hated that. Um,
Oh,
yeah, and the thing about it is you watch a lot of movies from the '60s where he's not playing Inspector Clouseau, even though they're comedies, they're box office flops. And honestly, I like some of those movies. I like some of those movies, and but they were box office flops, like After the Fox, and let's see, Casino Royale from 1966, not the one that came out 2007, and that was a spoof on James Bond, obviously, and he was playing James Bond, but several other people were playing James Bond in that film. And guess who else was playing James Bond in Casino Royale for 1966?
I have no idea.
Woody Allen.
Ew.
And can you imagine Woody Allen as James Bond?
No, I
Yeah.
can't at
When
all.
when the show's over, I'm going to forward you a clip of Woody Allen as 007 in action.
Okay. Ugh, I'm worried.
Yeah. When I first saw it, my jaw dropped down to the ground. In fact, I'll say this before we get started. David Letterman was talking about Casino Royale, the one that came out in 2007. He was talking about all the actors that played James Bond over the years. You got your Sean Connery, you got, Pierce Morgan, Pierce, uh, not Pierce Morgan. What's the name of that actor? Pierce. I cannot think of the name of that actor. He played the Bond character for many years. Um,
Oh God, yes, I know who you're talking about.
yeah,
Pierce.
Pierce Bronson.
Blah. Yes.
Yeah. And let's see, Sean Connery, Roger Moore, all these actors that played James Bond. And he was showing them up, and everybody was like, "Oh, interesting," because it was a little commentary. And then all of a sudden, it was Woody Allen looking very, very Woody Allen in the way that people just think of Woody Allen. And the crowd busted out laughing, and they thought he was just joking, David Letterman. And he's like, no, 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 it's true. He actually played 007 in Casino Royale in 1966. And so
Wow.
there you have it. And so the audience were like, oh, I can't believe this.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. I
That's
love that
nuts.
movie, by the way. I do like that movie. And one more thing, and I will get to it on with the show. Um, Peter Sellers, again, just like Johnny Depp, wanted to play a serious role. He wanted to be a serious dramatic actor, and so when he was offered a role to play James Bond in Casino Royale, he was happy about it. But when playing the role, I mean, they had to keep reminding him this is a spoof, and so he was the most normal acting person in the movie, but it kind of worked in his favor. You're like the straight man reacting to everybody, and he walked out of the set because he got pissed off and he wanted to play a serious role, and he basically told the people in the studio to fuck off, and he walked out of his contract.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So there's a part of the movie where you no longer see Peter Sellers. They had to write him off because he walked out of the contract and everything. So
Dang, that's crazy.
yeah. So now you know.
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah. So
All
hey,
right. Another good actress who died actually just this week, Maggie Smith. I'm really sad.
yeah, it's amazing when somebody all your life, not perhaps personally, but you grew up with and just being used to, and then all of a sudden you're just kind of like, wow,
Mhm. Yeah.
that person's no longer with us.
Yeah. It kind of makes you feel old yourself too, like an existential crisis kind of feeling because like me and I know there's thousands and hundreds of thousands or even millions of other millennials out there in the world that's like was like you we grew up on Harry Potter. Harry Potter was like that was our life, those movies, the books, everything. And then yeah, Maggie Smith this week, her dying, we all like are starting to come to realize like how many Harry Potter characters are and actors and actresses have died now, and how old this fucking movie is or these books are now, and how old we're getting ourselves. It's really, yeah, it's really really sad.
Yeah, yeah, it is. I remember in the 1970s. I still remember when Elvis Presley died. So
Oh
you
wow.
imagine that, and I'm older now than Elvis Presley was when he died. He died at the age of 42.
Right.
I mean,
Wow.
of course, he didn't exactly have a very good diet in his life. So, uh,
Do
yeah,
we all though?
you get him. Let me tell you how when he died, he actually apparently he hasn't discharged himself for several weeks. I heard,
Oh
and
no.
he let himself go. I mean, the bathroom was like a pile of shit.
Poor guy. He probably got sepsis too from all of that.
Yeah, I mean, I remember one day. I'll be very graphic. I remember one day not taking a shit for about 8 days when I was a teenager. I was like, "What the fuck is going on?" And
Mm-mm.
but then that was a one time thing, and that after that, nothing else weird happened to me, and it wasn't weird other than the fact that I didn't have to. I went several days without doing what most of us do normally throughout the week.
That's so scary.
It was scary. I mean, it was unusual. I mean,
Yeah,
you
you
know,
could die from that.
I thought that this can't keep going on, and I felt fine. I didn't feel, I mean, I wasn't starving myself or anything, but I'm sorry to be going into detail like that. But of course, I'm not saying anything in detail
Right.
because,
Right.
yeah, the whole concept. But anyway,
No, yeah, that's the scary thought. Like I said, you could die from that stuff. So yeah, make sure you guys poop. Okay.
e- exactly. So it's very important.
That's right.
Very important. Yeah. So I guess we should go on with the first story.
Go for it.
Okay. Let's go with the I got it right here. Give me a second.
Go for it. It's all you, buddy.
All right, it
What's up,
is.
Daniel Barry Sports Highlight? What's up, Rick? Rickety Rick. How are you, buddy? Good to see ya.
Okay.
Thanks for coming over to my Twitch channel. That was really cool of you.
Let's see. Shall we start with Sri Lanka's news political outsider make a remarkable turn
Whichever you want.
Yeah, let's do that because apparently Sri Lanka went what would be called super left, and so that's kind of yeah, here it is. Let me get it set up here
Yeah.
and
You're
okay,
good. It was fun.
find
I'm
it.
glad you had fun over there. Yeah, I plan on doing some spooky games for the October. I'm excited. We're gonna do some spooky games. If you want to, I have a Discord too. If you want to message me, I can send you the link to my Discord. You guys can all come and hang out. Last night we went into a voice chat and we all watched the movie Long Legs last night, which was really good. It's a new serial killer based in the 1970s movie. Jack Nicholson plays this older woman serial killer. It's actually pretty fucking decent. Yeah, it was Nicolas Cage is like a fucking good actor. I swear to God, that guy could do literally anything. I swear. So yeah, if you want to come and hang out in the Discord with us, we just kind of shoot the shit and talk in there and hang out. And if we all want to game together, we game. Or if you want to hang out in the voice chat and watch movies, we can do that if you want to. Send me a message, maybe Twitter or something like that, and then I'll send you the invite link and come hang out. Any of you guys, if you want to. You too, Willy. I don't know if you have a Discord. Do you have a Discord?
I tried setting up one day but when I was friends with Nate's Garden, and
Okay.
we of course we're the story there. It's still funny actually looking back at that, but I had trouble setting up a Discord, and so and I
Oh,
remind me to ask you about the Discord when the show is over, because I do
okay.
have a question about it. So
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
it's one of those things that I should keep you know um being in this line of work. um I mean, I just got a Substack set up this past week, by the way.
Oh,
So
wow, cool. Hell yeah.
so
Nicolas Cage is a national treasure. I get it.
actually, before I get started, Nicolas Cage,
Was
you
that
ever
your
seen
dad joke? What? Sorry.
you ever seen the movie Valley Girl with Nicolas Cage?
Yes.
I love that movie. So anyway, Sri Lanka's
That's
new
so funny
president.
that you like out of all the Nicolas Cage movies, that's the one that you called out. That is so fucking crazy. I saw that movie way back in the day. That was like based in the 80s where girls still would go to the mall and say, like, gag me with a spoon.
Well, got to realize how old I am too.
Yeah,
So
no, that was one of the first Nicolas Cage movies I ever remember seeing, and I had no idea that it was Nicolas Cage in the movie when I saw it.
yep, yep. Yeah, and so the thing about it is that was kind of that's yeah, it's part of my growing up from that time period and everything, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
yeah,
No, I've seen it. I saw it as a kid. I had to watch it. It's a Valley Girl, and Valley Girls are based out of the Valley here in Southern California. So like Ventura, Pasadena, just this whole valley, like the LA's north of LA Valley area. And back in the 80s, that's how those girls talked. My mom was like in 1985, my mom was 16, 17 years old, and that's when I was born. So, like, I grew up with this Valley Girl kind of mom, so like I had to see that movie when I was, a little bit older to watch it because that's what I grew up with. You have to understand, like, the way that I talk now is done in training on purpose because I have Valley Girl in me somewhere really, really hard. And sometimes it comes out. And so I've had years and years and years of practice to not sound like a Valley Girl at all. I fucked up the other day. I was something about my cat. I was like, my cat was sitting right here and I was like, don't sit on my mouse or something like that. And my friends just started laughing at me. I was like, oh, fuck, there we go. It fucking came out. So Valley Girl was my life. That was me.
does she still sound like a Valley Girl? Your mom?
Sometimes I do. Does my mom? No, no. I mean, she does a little bit, but yeah, she's a little bit more conservative and yeah, a little bit different now, but she still has it in her for sure. My sister too. We all have it. It's bad.
That's
Like, I
that's
literally remember saying when I was 9 or 10 years old going around saying, like, "Gag me with a spoon," because I wanted to bring that back.
Gag me with a spoon.
Gag me with a spoon. Now, what's so funny is now in 2024, I just recently found out in the LGBTQ community out here, Hollywood, LA, Palm Springs, all of that, their new word for like when you're shooketh or like I'm shocked, they say I'm gagged. I'm fucking gagged. That's their new word. So instead of saying gag me with a spoon, they just say gagged now. That's the new thing.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, I'm gagged. I'm gagged.
Well,
Hi, Bella.
that's one of the reasons. One of the reasons I do support LGBTQ rights is that they are trendsetters, and
They
and they
definitely are.
and they always have more times than not. There's always something positive, and it takes a while for everybody to appreciate it.
Absolutely. Valley Girl Goth, what a combo. I know, right? It's the fucking worst. Like
Wow,
my public face, I've always like, I love being goth. That's like my favorite part of myself. But it's like I'm goth on the outside and like rainbow on the inside. And I've tried to be goth on the inside too, but I can't. So it's like I'm a always smiling, bubbly goth girl. And it just feels like it would clash together, but it works for me. I'm cool with it. So
there you go. All right.
gagged. I'm gagged.
All right. Well, here we are in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka's new, this is from BBC News here. Sri Lanka's new president, political outsider, makes a remarkable turnaround by Anna Basan Estirajan. I hope I didn't butcher this person's name. All right. And let's see. And it says here, under the normal circumstances, a victory of Anuro Kamora Desanyeke, I'm sorry about the name being butchered, in Sri Lanka's presidential election would have been called a political earthquake. But with many having labeled a left-leaning politician as the strong front runner in the run-up to the polls, his win was not a massive surprise for Sri Lankans. The 55-year-old Yankee has the National People's Power Alliance, which includes his Janasa Ben Ben I'm so sorry. Um, Pamamuna JVC and the People's Liberation Front, a party that's traditionally backs strong state intervention and lower taxes and campaign for leftist economic policies. With his win, the island will see for the first time a government headed by a leader of a strong left wing ideology. It's a vote for change. Harinini Ama Amasarinia, I'm so sorry about this, a senior MPP leader and MP told the BBC. The result is a confirmation that of what we have been campaigning for, like a drastic change from the existing political culture and the anti-corruption drive. Let's see here. It says here, left wing leader wins Sri Lanka presidential vote. The outsider. Um, Desa Yunke is expected to dissolve parliament and call for parliamentary elections soon. It will be a challenge, however, for him to implement the coalition policies in a country that has adopted liberalization and free market principles from the late 70s. The resounding victory of the NPP came following a wave of public anger over the devastating economic crisis in 2022, when Sri Lanka ground on half as inflation surged and its farm reserves emptied. The country was unable to pay for imports of food, fuel, medicines, and declared bankruptcy. An unprecedented public uprising against the government handling of the economy forced the president Gatyaba Rajap good Lord, to flee the country in July 2022.
You're
I'm
killing
embarrassed
me.
how I'm fucking up these names. Let's see. 2 months earlier, his brother and veteran leader Mahinda has been forced to resign as prime minister during the initial phase of the protest known as another hard word to pronounce, Aragalia, which means struggle in Sinhala. Um, Ran, Ranil Wick, Wickremesinghe took over the president with the backing of the Rush, Rasha Pasca party. He stabilized the economy and negotiated a 2.9 billion package with the International Monetary Fund. For the millions of Sri Lankans who took the streets, and political change was nothing but a transfer of power between the established parties and political dynasties. The NPP and Desanyanaka capitalized on the sentiment, as many of the country saw him as someone outside the old order. Excuse me, though he was minister briefly when JVP became part of the coalition, the government during the presidency of Chandrika Kamra Tanunga. I'm sorry. In the 2000s, the Sinyanke supporters said he will not be tainted with the corruption or cronyism charges. The question is how the presidency will tackle Sri Lanka's massive economic challenges. During the campaign, he promised to lower taxes and utility bills. This means a lower revenue for the government, and it will go against some of the conditions set by the IMF loan. Damn IMF people. Let's see. We will work within the broad agreement of the IMF, and he's reached within the current government, as said Amar Sarija from the NPP, but we will negotiate certain details, and particularly regarding the austerity measures. Because I'm actually butchering these words, I will leave the article at that, and I could probably just put down the article link after the show.
Okay.
So anyway, so what do you think, Jimmy? You think that the U.S. government's going to allow Sri Lanka to do what they need to do, or what is your take on this?
I have no fucking idea. I was internally laughing at every time you messed up the name.
I mean, names I don't see every day, and there's nothing wrong with these names other than I cannot pronounce them.
Right.
Yeah. But anyway, my guess is that the United States is going to do what they're going to do normally, and they're going to either discreetly or not so discreetly interfere and make sure that his government's not going to succeed. That's what they do. I mean, around the world.
Right.
Yeah. So
Okay.
we'll see how that turns out, and all. So anyway,
Okay.
so yeah. Do you have anything you want to share story wise, or?
Yeah, I do, but mine are short, so go ahead and do a couple more.
Okay, well then I'll tell you what, we will do another one. And are you familiar with the Lincoln Project?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, um, it shows you everything that's wrong with this country when you watch this very short video from the Lincoln Project. It shows you everything that's wrong with this country right now as we speak. So let me go ahead and get it.
Okay.
I'm still having a little buffering, even though I have a new modem and a new
You're
router.
fine.
Some issues here.
You're
So
good.
yeah.
Take your time.
The other day I was streaming and everything was fast, fast, fast. It's like give me a couple of seconds here.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we're gonna call. Oh,
Hmm? Uh-oh. You okay?
Sorry about that. Yeah, you probably recognize the song, right? I don't
I
know
don't
what's
hear
going on here.
anything.
Okay, I'm just trying to get everything set up, and the video keeps playing. Okay, all right. Let me get it
I don't
set up
see
here.
anything or hear anything.
Oh, you're about to see it. Yeah,
Come on, little Ben. I love you,
there we
buddy,
go.
but you're all up in the way.
Okay, we're ready.
Dick, we never got along.
Correct.
You were a warmonger.
And you were a commie.
Surprising to be on the same side as you.
Surprising to me, too.
I'm still on the left.
I'm still on the right.
But if we can agree on Trump,
It means something big.
bigger than policy,
Bigger than ideology.
we are both voting for Kamala Harris
Because this election is a choice between America.
or Trump.
Okay. Yeah, your thoughts on this?
I don't understand it. Wait, what? Am I just too stoned right now?
Well, you saw it.
Let's play it
Well,
again. Let's do it again.
actually, I'm very much in favor of playing it again.
Okay, let's do it again. It's only
Okay.
44 seconds. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Dick, we never got along.
Hey, everyone.
Correct.
You were a warmonger.
And you were a commie.
Surprising to be on the same side as you.
Surprising to me, too.
I'm still on the left.
I'm still on the right.
But if we can agree on Trump,
It means something big.
bigger than policy,
Bigger than ideology.
we are both voting for Kamala Harris
Because this election is a choice between America.
or Trump.
Now, question:
Okay.
did it on your side? Did the video buff any, or did it
Yeah, a little
stream
bit.
up? Okay. Anyway, yeah. Um, Dick
All right.
Cheney and
Yeah.
Bernie Sanders,
Coming together to vote
and the
for
world's
Kamala
going
because of
nuts.
Trump.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy. It's
It is.
crazy.
It is.
It offends me. I mean, it offends me
Yeah.
on so many levels. It
I
offends
think we were
me.
just so like involved in worshiping the golden calf that was Bernie Sanders in 2016 that we it's like when like people go to church and like they believe in God and everybody like people tell them all the bad stuff about God and they refuse to listen to it because they believe so hard. We were like that with Bernie, that we didn't want to believe that, technically he always has been, a status quo Democrat, was just independent doing it, it is a big letdown, and I think it's something that a lot of us need to just open our eyes and see that was never really anything we could have done, or anything wouldn't have changed anyway. So
Well, I mean,
hi,
starters
Kitty.
with Bernie being Bernie and everything, that was really I'm sure Bernie and Bernie Sanders and Dick Cheney didn't have that real conversation, but this essentially, the video is very true. They're on the same fucking side because because of the orange man, and so there is that, and the fact that the Bush Cheney people of 20 years ago, and I keep saying this, the toast of Rush Limbaugh, and Fox News were praising these people as the way, and to see the Democrats who thought of, like Glenn Greenwald said, many of us looked at Bush and Cheney the same way we look at Trump today, as the epitome of evil and all of that. And I've always argued that Bush and Cheney were more evil than Trump. Not saying that Trump is good, but I'm saying that they are the reason why we ended up with a Trump. And
Mhm.
and so just the fact that the Democrats are giddy over this. All this is going to do is just shift the Democrats and the entire country a little further right, because the Republicans are unhinged, playing with fascism in a cavalier way, and Democrats are basically Bush Cheney Republicans, with the differences that they believe in being a little bit nicer to gay people.
Right. Absolutely. It's the
Yeah.
same war machines that are going overseas. It's just Democrats have rainbows on them.
Yeah, pretty much. And it's the drone strikes. If Kamala Harris wins, I doubt that the people getting drone strike would be like, well, at least we're being slaughtered by somebody with empathy and understanding. I mean, it's just kind of like unfortunately that's how Democrats think these days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So any
I agree.
Yeah. Let's see, we'll go on with the next story here. All right, let me go ahead and check over here. Come on. All right. Okay, let's see. I thought this was kind of funny. It is from the Tim Black show, where he's talking about Joe Biden's MAGA hate moment, a message to Kamala Harris, and the way he interpreted it was kind of hilarious.
Okay.
As soon as it pops up. Okay. All right, come on. With my new computer, everything's a little smaller too, so that's another thing. So dainty, everything on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Wow. Okay. And the screen did the opposite of what I wanted it to do.
Of course.
Comment that Trump made during the debates that Kamala Harris stole votes from Biden.
But when this weak, pathetic man that you saw at a debate just a few months ago, that if he weren't in that debate, he'd be running instead of her. She got no votes. He got 14 million votes. What you did, you talk about a threat to democracy. He got 14 million votes, and they threw him out of office. And you know what? I'll give you a little secret. He hates her. He can't stand her. But he got 14 million votes. They threw him out. She got 0 votes. And when she ran, she was the first one to leave because she failed. And now she's running.
I saw this video, right? And what it's saying is that Biden does hate Kamala. Okay, so with more context, right?
Uh-oh.
Right?
I'm going to start this video from the beginning. I'm sorry. It's just too much interruption. Hopefully, they
comment that Trump made during the debates that Kamala Harris stole votes from Biden.
But when this weak, pathetic man that you saw at a debate just a few months ago, that
Uh-oh.
if he weren't in that debate, he'd be running instead of her. She got no votes. He got 14 million votes. What you did, you talk about a threat to democracy. He got 14 million votes, and they threw him out of office. And you know what? I'll give you a little secret. He hates her. He can't stand her. But he got 14 million votes. They threw him out. She got 0 votes. And when she ran, she was the first one to leave because she failed. And now she's running.
I saw this video, right? And what it's saying is that Biden does hate Kamala. Okay, so more context, right? You have that. Then you have this.
Presidential hat.
I don't know where exactly he's at. Maybe a sign here will tell us where he is. But Joe Biden's at someplace. Looks like it's a town, somewhat family. I don't know. Lots of regular people. I see little people in the back. I see this older guy. He's wearing the Trump hat. So Biden and this guy are going to switch hats.
Trump hat, I'll give you my presidential hat. Presidential seal on it.
You want to autograph it?
Oh, sure, I'll autograph it.
Huh?
Yeah.
You remember your name?
I don't remember my name. I'm slow.
You're an old part.
Yeah, I know, man. I'm an old guy.
And you're no.
And I know you would know about that.
What?
About being old.
Oh, I know.
All right.
I'm a young timer.
So it's just a good timey, fun, funny little thing, right? But he's going to give this guy his presidential hat. And then he's going to take this guy's, I hate that when it sounds whack. He's going to take this gentleman. He's going to take dude's Trump hat. Check this out, man. See, here it goes.
Hell no.
Come on.
I ain't going that far.
Yeah. Then you would do a selfie. There you go. Hey.
Now, I saw that and I laughed about it. And I thought, well, that's the Joe that everyone wanted to tell me about back in 2019. They wanted to tell me how down-to-earth Joe Biden is, how folksy he is, how disarming he is, right? People were telling me this. I remember Michael Moore told me this. It's like, Tim, have you ever met Joe Biden? He's really a decent guy. I was like, no, I haven't. Nah, I haven't met him. He's the crime bill guy, right?
Very clear-eyed about this. We know Biden's voting history. We know it's a long record, and a lot of it is very good, especially back in the 90s. He was the one who really pushed that crime bill. He was the one. It's maybe.
Gosh darn it.
Hold on.
He had
Yeah, I want to apologize for this buffering that
Okay.
keeps taking place.
Yeah, right.
Unprofessional on my part. Yeah.
You are good.
Actually, it was fine earlier today, the streaming.
Yeah.
I'm beginning
I
to think
know.
it might be the stream yards.
I can't wait till my mind is totally gone so I can be joyous too, Bella.
Okay,
Tim
I'm
is a
gonna,
Clinton voter. uh,
what? No.
the chat. I'm just enjoying the chat.
had it to do over, and now he'd do it differently. I've met him. Have you ever?
Okay, I'll tell you what. We'll try to get to.
Met him, Tim? Biden?
Never met him, no.
Yeah, I met him. I met him a couple times. I have to say, he is kind of just a regular Joe.
I'll tell you what. Hold on a second. I'll do this because basically he there's a part of the video where it shows him holding on to the Trump hat as he boarded the plane, Air Force One, and that's what's the gist of this. And Tim Black basically said that he's basically giving a signal to American voters to give Trump a chance. In other words, he's pissed off with Kamala Harris. And what do you think of that theory?
I don't think that's it at all. I think he just took a gift or took something that a fan or somebody gave to him and he brought it with him.
That's kind of what my dad said to me when we were discussing that on the phone.
Older men, you don't need to look into a meaning behind something that they do. Usually it's just they just do something because that's just what they do. Somebody handed them something and they just took it with them. So I don't think there's any meaning behind it. I think people are looking into it too hard. Even SNL did the same thing too. Like this yesterday, Saturday night, when they did their opening, it was Kamala Harris and Biden, and they made like just a little snippet part really quick that made it seem like Biden is pissed off at Kamala for taking his spot when he still wants it. And it's just, it is what it is. I mean, of course, he probably wanted a second term, and usually when, you get, delirious and you lose your mind, you don't realize that you're doing it, and he doesn't realize it. And it probably sucks coming to that realization for him. And I think that, even though I don't like any of them, maybe as an older man, we should just chill out and let him mourn a little bit and move on instead of reading too much into shit and making him feel bad for taking a fucking hat from someone.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, Michael Moore said about him being just a regular Joe and all of that and everything. He's got bad policies. He's an establishment stooge from hell. I'm talking about Joe Biden. He's as establishment as they come. He is as corrupt as they come. He is a status quo as they come. But the one thing that he has going for him, and it's non-political, apparently he's a nice guy, apparently in person.
Right.
He's
an old guy, he's an old man.
Yeah.
If you saw somebody that looked like him that was sitting on their front porch reading a newspaper in your neighborhood, you wouldn't even, if he wasn't ever the president or a congressman or anything, you wouldn't tell any difference. He would just be some regular old dude.
Yeah, I remember when Bernie was dropping, before he dropped out, he couldn't even bring himself to attack him in the way that he would attack Hillary during the 2016 primaries. And I mean, I understand to the extent that, Hillary is not a likable person and Joe Biden is likable in comparison. And I despise Joe Biden. But I do recognize that he doesn't come across as he doesn't come across as a piece of shit in a way that a lot of politicians would. And so Joe Biden had his friendship range from Bernie Sanders on the left to the late Jesse Helms on the right, former segregationist, U.S. Senator. Basically, he like one of the last remnants of the Jim Crow people that were in elected office in the country that was overtly supporting segregation back in the days, referring to Jesse Helms. And so to have that range of friends, I mean, Democrats and Republicans like Joe Biden on a personal level. And it's a bizarre thing, it's just bizarre when we think about it. But I mean, he comes from that time when it was more of a buddy system in DC.
Mm-hmm.
And it still is a buddy system, but they put on a whole lot of virtue. The culture war is what they want to attack each other over, and instead of actual economic policies or what have you. So, yeah,
I agree.
Yeah. So, let me know when you want your story up. So,
just keep going. You're good.
Yeah. Actually, here's a hilarious story. We all know who Laura Loomer is. And and the thing about it is she's a very, very, very nasty, hateful person. And she was on Tim Pool's podcast. He was engaging in electoral denialism and everything, and he was talking about cheating. People who are cheated, they should be put in prison, and which again, that's extreme. But she out extremed him, calling for the execution of quote unquote Democrats. I mean, You know, when you're talking about killing your political opponents, you lost the plot. You lost the plot. Anyway,
Mm.
there is a channel I discovered is a trans woman that likes to do makeovers. And it's funny because this person decides to do a makeover, and I hope this person ends up. I hope I got the screen ready. The screen's just not cooperating with me today. I'm very frustrated. Okay,
I'm
hold on.
sorry.
You're fine. You're fine. Okay. It's called Transforming into Laura Loomer. And
What?
Terry, it's funny as hell.
Okay.
Here we go.
Get right with me to recreate Laura Loomer's makeup look. Welcome back to Queer Eye for the MAGA Guy Gal and Non-Binary Pal, the show where I, a liberal, reach across the aisle in an act of bipartisanship to help conservatives recreate their favorite Republican makeup looks. In her 31 years of life, Laura has done a lot in her gender-affirming care journey, going from this to this. And I don't want to see any derogatory comments saying she looks like the puppet from horror movies. Show some respect. That puppet's name is Billy. Self-described Islamophobe white supremacist and part-time storefront cosplayer Laura Loomer likes her makeup to be master race white, so I'm just going in with a full coverage foundation stick. As much fun as this is to look at, I am not sure if it's 100% real, so we won't be using that as the basis of our look. Laura Loomer has said some incredibly shocking stuff like, I'm 31 years old. Take a white beauty blender because she's a supremacist. Laura Loomer has said some things that are so racist and crazy and offensive that even Marjorie Taylor Greene said, girl, that's not okay. Eyes are the window to the soul, and we want our eyes to look soulless. So cut that crease deep. I really tried to find photos that were flattering of Miss Loomer. I found this one. Laura Loomer shows a lot of signs of severe mental illness. And I'm not talking about the fact that she's a Jewish woman and she pals around with men who say things like Jews will not replace us and a woman's place is in the kitchen. I'm referring to her obvious body dysmorphia that is coming out through her plastic surgery choices. A few years ago, she looked like this, and then she had a nose job, which brought us to this face, which I think is a very good look on her. But after a few short years and some failed political runs, we get this face. Laura's nose contour is very interesting. It's almost like she's drawing a cartoon nose on the side of her nose with a straight line and a curved one. For cheek contour, I'm just going to kind of wing it with my face sucked in like this. The way Laura's doing her cheek contour makes me think she's trying to look like Melania. Moving on to her iconically black Sharpie brows. Your brows should look like two killer whales trying to knock over a billionaire's yacht. A lot of people are saying that Laura and Donald Trump are having an affair right now. I personally don't want to comment on it until I have confirmation. Soften the brows a little with a light brown. The only way we can know for sure that Donald and Laura are sleeping together is in a few years when Donald is claiming to a court he's never even met Laura Loomer. To get that look of just being caressed by Cheeto dust-covered fingers, we're going in with a chrome bronzer. Laura Loomer loves to spread baseless rumors. As a matter of fact, she's the one who told Donald Trump that Haitian immigrants were eating dogs and cats in Springfield, Ohio. So I'm going to spread some baseless rumors about Laura Loomer. I heard that Laura Loomer was created by a Nazi scientist named Vought in a laboratory experiment at Auschwitz. I saw Laura Loomer conversing with Goody Proctor and the devil. Laura Loomer is really two 8-year-old boys standing on top of each other in a bathrobe that just wanted to get some Snickers for Halloween, but they girl-bossed too close to the sun. I want my cheekbones to pop, so I'm going with the NYX white jumbo stick. I fully didn't realize that. Oh my gosh, is Laura Loomer trying to look like Colonel Sanders so Donald Trump will touch her? When you're doing your eye makeup and eyeliner, always start on your non-dominant side. If you're right-handed, start on your left eye. If you're left-handed, start on your right eye. It makes them so much easier to match. Her eyeliner is not that big, so I really want to keep it tight. I'm going to take some dark eyeshadow and run it under my eye and out at the corner. Smudge the eyeshadow under your eyes just a little. Thick coats of mascara on your top and bottom lashes. Lip time! You all might not believe this, but I think I'm going to have to overdraw my lips just a bit. I'm seriously struggling with this makeup look because I try so hard to make everything look natural and nothing looks natural here. To get the look of lip filler, I'm drawing the sides of my mouth out and then rounding them into the top lip. For the lip filler look, I'm using a plum lip liner and then I'm adding this nude base coat on top. I always try to have one positive thing to say about everyone whose makeup tutorials I do. So I'm going to say I always like Laura Loomer's lipstick shades. I know I said to ignore this photo, but I'm going in with a very bubblegum pink lip gloss, and I just wanted to show that. Highlighter! I really don't like the amount of highlighter Laura Loomer wears. Highlighter just accentuates pores and makes you look sweaty, especially the white powder under the nose. On your forehead, E for Trump. For blush, I'm using an orange tone cream. To create a cohesive look, put some blush right over your eye makeup as well. I usually wear a quarter lash or a half lash because I'm not the best at applying false eyelashes, but neither is Laura Loomer, so it's okay. This is our final result. Let me know how you think in the comments and be sure and tell me what other conservative politicians' makeup look you would like to see me recreate. All right, my strange little onions, I love you. Have a hug, a cookie, and a juice box.
Man,
Well,
all I have to say is I blame Bratz dolls.
what I have to say is this person looks better than Laura Loomer after the makeover.
Oh, I was waiting for someone to say that.
Yeah. I think it's all that hatred that's pent up in Laura Loomer that makes her unattractive. That's I
Yeah.
mean, and I'm not well. We'll do it because she's such a horrible person. We'll attack her looks. Yeah, I mean she's such a horrible person, and that hatred that's built up. I mean, and we live in an upside down world where the Republican gubernatorial candidate in North Carolina is a black man that says I'm a black Hitler. And we got a Jewish woman by the name of Laura Loomer that pals around with the alt-right, and then the anti-immigration MAGA guy, Nick Fuentes, is Hispanic and possibly gay. And what the fuck is going on here? And they're all like national socialists. They're all white supremacists.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's crazy.
I know. We live in the craziest, weird, upside down world right now where, I mean, those people are coming together on the right, and you just showed, 20 minutes ago, Bernie Sanders and Cheney coming together on the left for Kamala. So this is a really weird matrixy world that we're living in right now.
Yeah, and then some of us on the left, we get called names like MAGA left and all that when we have not changed our basic politics, and we're not supportive of Trump. We don't support Republicans. We don't support Democrats. I think the more independent you are, the more they're willing to call you right wing, and because you're not a team player, that's how they will do. So in that regard, even all of us, we get lumped, but with us, we get lumped incorrectly. But yeah, anyway, let's see. We'll go with the next story, and okay, all right. So let's see. Decisions. All right, come on. Yeah, let's go ahead with Speaking of Mark Robinson, let's go ahead and do the right wingers lining up to defend self-admitted quote unquote black Nazi. And that's the Republican gubernatorial candidate here in North Carolina. And you know what's really funny? When he got elected in 2020, the only thing I knew about Robinson was he was a black guy, a black Republican. I figure, he's probably like Tim Scott of South Carolina, just basically just a standard Republican, that just happened to be African American. Nothing particularly unusual other than maybe being African American and a Republican. But other than that, Tim Scott is a pretty normal person, a normie, if you will. But then you got Mark Robinson, and I found out how hard to the right he was. I'm like, this is my lieutenant governor. So I will get that screen ready in just a second. If it's stop pausing on me like that. Okay.
Oh, you good? Uh-oh.
I've had on a pornography site 10 years ago. Like, that's going to shock anybody, really, in this day and age. It's not.
Yes, Mark Robinson putting Republicans to the test as to whether or not a scandal is ever a bridge too far for them in the year 2024, so long as there's an election to win. And the answer apparently is no. And that was Greg Kelly of Newsmax showing you a little taste of how right-wing pundits are responding to the news that Republican gubernatorial candidate in North Carolina, Mark Robinson, posted countless numbers of disgusting comments on a pornography forum, not like the chat area. As you do when you watch porn, and then you talk about it. What? He said things like he called himself a black Nazi. That one was fun. And there was a lot worse. And let's just remind us what he said. So he wrote in the forum discussing black Republicans in October 2010, stating, unprovoked, I'm a black Nazi. Thanks. It's very much that no one meme. No one, I'm a black Nazi. Okay. That same month, Robinson wrote that he advocates for the return of slavery. He said this out loud, though, so it's not, not a big surprise, but also kind of shows it might be the same guy. He wrote, slavery's not bad. Some people need to be slaves. I wish they would bring it back. I would certainly buy a few. There he was under his name, Mini Soldier. But there's more. He posted a joke about a woman who was sexually assaulted. He used countless numbers of slurs. He said he would prefer Hitler's leadership to the Obama administration. He also said that he loves trans porn. Just going to let that sit. And regarding a celebrity who got an abortion, Robinson wrote that he didn't care. He just wanted to see a sex tape. All right. So that's who Robinson is. Again, this was digitally traced by a number of outlets that showed that, it's definitely the same guy, even if it was 10 years ago. But here's right-wing media, specifically Fox News, saying, who? It's fine. It's all fine. Here's Jesse Waters claiming he doesn't even know who he is, even though he did interview him just in January.
And we just found out an hour ago that the lieutenant governor there, Mark Robinson, who's running for governor.
Never heard of him. Let's bring in Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson. He's running for governor of North Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, that sounded kind of like Jesse Waters' little a-holery, never heard of him, even though he knows he interviewed him. But Greg Gutfeld took it a step further, as he does. calling Jessica Tarlow's criticism of Robinson kink shaming. He also defended Donald Trump for endorsing Robinson and claimed Trump couldn't have possibly known about the scandal, which might be true. Take a look.
And we just found out an hour ago that the lieutenant governor there, Mark Robinson, who's running for governor,
Never heard of him.
who Donald Trump called Martin Luther King on steroids, posted on a porn forum called Nude Africa that he's a black Nazi, expressed support for reinstating slavery, and detailed his sexual arousal from memories of peeping on women in public gyms, and he still fantasizes about it. He also has an Ashley Madison account.
How dare you kink shame?
That's a great reaction. So Josh Stein was likely to win that race anyway. If they get Mark Robinson to drop out, his name is still on the ballot. But this makes North Carolina even more in play for Democrats. And this, again, is evidence of the type of candidates that Donald Trump thinks are good for the country. Martin Luther King on steroids, someone who says he's a black Nazi.
But he would obviously.
But what?
Let's take the obvious here.
Yeah.
Do you think Trump actually knew this guy was on porn sites?
My point is that Donald Trump likes anyone who likes him, and he doesn't bother to do the work.
Being human.
No.
Hey, don't scroll away. Come back. Because before the video continues,
I'll tell you what. We'll discuss it for what we got here. Mark Robinson being, again, if he was just a normie Republican, I still say that's bad enough. But I mean, being a normie Republican favoring tax cuts for the wealthy and deregulation, and maybe a little bit old-fashioned on issues dealing with sexuality, that's what you expect from Republicans. But when you're talking about somebody wanting to return slavery and being, an admirer of Adolf Hitler, I mean, that's what's happening. I mean, it's not just some redneck white guy in some rural southern community doing this, running as a Republican. We're talking about, of all people, an African American man who is basically admiring Hitler. That's just crazy.
What do you expect from the Republican side nowadays? I mean, I don't think it's very rare that they really still. I mean, they still shock me. So, yeah, I kind of figured eventually some kind of racist black person was going to be the shining, face for the Republican Party eventually, because they're out there. So.
And I'm sure there's some white redneck right-wing person say, "You don't support Mark Robertson, you're a racist." And I love it when they. I mean, I'm saying that ironically. Love it when they try to throw that back at a progressive.
Right. Yep. The irony.
Because I remember now he's from your neck of the woods. Larry Elder running for governor. I'm sure he's not that far gone. I mean, I don't know, but.
Yeah, I mean, at least California was, smart enough to realize when we tried to get rid of Gavin Newsom and then he tried to come in, we kind of were like, oh, okay, yeah, no, we'd rather have Gavin Newsom. Sorry.
I'm sure he's not as far gone as Mark Robinson, though.
Yeah. I mean, he does like gay conversion therapy, but yeah, no, he's not a full-on racist. I don't think.
I remember.
You never know, man. You never fucking know out here, because there are some really secret racists out here. There's when Cenk ran for office a few years ago, before he did, there was a girl that actually had won, and some nude photos of her came out because her husband was doing some kind of revenge porn thing on her, and everybody they kicked her out of the office and everything because of the new pictures. And when I saw him, I was like, y'all don't see that iron cross right next to her crotch? That's a iron cross. That Nazis love that symbolism, and none of y'all know. Nobody's saying nothing. So it's everywhere. It's hidden in plain sight all the time.
Yeah, with Larry Elder, I told somebody on Facebook, if I lived in California, I would have voted for the referendum, but I would have voted for one of the Green Party candidates running. And one of the conservative people on Facebook told me, "You're racist if you don't go and vote for Larry Elder." I'm like. Fuck off. I said, I agree that Gavin Newsom sucks. Doesn't mean that California needs Larry Elder. And it's not because he's black. It's because, he policy wise, he will do things in California that I wouldn't, I would not like to see happen to the people in California, so
Right.
that's what it comes down to. I don't vote for somebody based on skin color and all of that. I mean, they accuse liberals of that, but when a conservative black person or a conservative, whatever, Hispanic, what have you, runs for office, they will demand that you go and respect them, because and if you don't, you are a racist. I mean, it's like there's something more disingenuous than seeing a conservative calling people a racist of all things. And in fact, it just gets on my damn nerves.
Yep. They will always lift up their tokenized black person. Always. As long as they go for their agenda. As soon as they start saying anything woke, they're like, all right, we're against you now.
Yeah, I mean, just there were people that used to get mad at me when I say Rush Limbaugh was a racist, but Rush Limbaugh, made a lot of. They were not dog whistles; they were foghorns on his show, and all of a sudden they're like, how dare you call him a racist? And I'm not one of those people that sits there and will call somebody a racist because they may have a set of politics that I disagree with or whatever. I think to throw the race card on somebody who may favor deregulation is stupid, but it's somebody who's sitting there and always talking about welfare and always painting a black face on welfare. If that's not racist, I don't know what is. As if black people are only on welfare and that's all there is, when there are black people who are middle class and wealthy and all of that, and there's a lot of white folks are on welfare, but they never paint welfare with a white face. They always paint it with a black face.
Because they want to manipulate us. They want us to think it's a race issue and not a class issue, because as long as they keep it a race issue with the social problems, then we're always going to be fighting between ourselves and not fighting against the elites, which is what we should be doing.
Exactly. And they'll, I mean, and it's been said that one of the reasons why people who are suffering under the healthcare system, which is everybody, it reaches across demographics, including white folks. The reason a lot of white folks are willing to put up with a sucky healthcare system is they think that this is a freebie to black people, when healthcare for everyone is race neutral.
Right.
It's race neutral. I mean, one of the reasons why blacks started voting for the Democrats in the 1930s and dumped the Republicans was, even though there was discrimination within some of the New Deal agencies like Civil Conservation Corps or Work Progress Administration, African Americans were getting Social Security, and Social Security was race neutral. So it was actually there was economic improvement with things like Social Security and the increasement of unions that took place in the 1930s. And so when standards of living go high and when we all do well, we all do well. And anyway, just ranting as usual. So
nope, it's all good. Ran away, please.
Yeah. So
we need it.
Yeah. And I would say that the Democrats and Republicans not good for anybody, regardless of your background, for anyone. So let's see here. I'm normally not a fan of Vosh, but I thought it was interesting when I saw the headline. So I actually watched the video and I was like, okay, I'll go ahead and I think this will be good for Bragglands. So hopefully the video is not going to go off prematurely.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm sure it will.
Probably.
Yeah. That's what's killing me. This pausing that's doing. It's like it's trying to make its mind up. There we go. I'm not a good producer. I know that. Yeah. Okay, come on. Catch. Please catch. There we go. What's that? So
And apparently, internal polling showed 60% of Teamsters union workers supported endorsing Trump versus 34% for Harris. Now, excluding the conspiratorial belief that the union somehow fiddled with this poll and it's non-representative of the of the Teamsters union, which I don't think that's true. I think it is representative. Unfortunately, democracy, it's for the people, by the people, of the people, but the people are what are the people, chat? Answer me. What are the people? You know what they are. The Teamsters union does not have the brass balls that the UAW does. Oh, speaking of, guess what came in the mail today? Ain't that cute? That's my election drip this year. That's my voters are all morons. Yeah, that's true. Sorry to be down there. How much did it cost? Like $30. It's just the previous straw poll of Teamsters had Biden up a few points over Trump, then it flipped after the dropout. Oh, you think they're racist or sexist? Here's their full statement. Like, again, if you are a member of a union and you are pro-Trump, I'm taking this as a cognitive deficiency. I'm really sorry. There's just no two ways about it. Genuinely, like you are, like it's again, it's you have to know it's informed simplicity. It's informed simplicity. Sometimes you have to know enough to know when it's simple. You have to have a complex enough understanding to know when it's simple. Trump literally hates unions and said the unions got to Biden in that interview. Yeah. The contempt that Donald Trump has for unions isn't like a secret, Trump also praised Elon Musk for union busting. Yeah. The Teamsters seem to hate unions too. Yeah, well, unfortunately, being part of a union does not necessarily mean that you are class conscious. You might just stumble into that shit. I mean, keep in mind, far more Americans were in unions back in the 1950s and 60s than they are today. And a lot of them were rabid anti-socialists, You had guys who were working at like the bang a piece of metal with a pipe wrench factory, a union job, which they can afford a suburban house off one income, from. They go back home to their wife and they're like, yeah, I kept an eye out, but I didn't see any communists at work today. Not necessarily a relationship from what people like between what people benefit from and what people think benefits them, unfortunately. It makes sense for Teamsters to be more right-wing since they are more autonomous and don't profit from strikes. It is true that they are more disposed to this kind of bullshit than UAW would be, even if you evened out all the other factors. But yeah, whatever. I mean, I guess at least they're not endorsing Trump. They're just not endorsing anyone, I guess. I mean, that's better than them endorsing Trump. I don't know. Take the victories you can. What do you think of this union poll? Oh, thank you for the $5. Other candidates, how much of this 6.4% do you think is Jill Stein? And how much of it do you think is RFK Jr.? Weren't unions originally a concept designed to be kind of like stopgaps for socialist sentiment rising?
Ooh, it's freezing.
You know what I'm tempted to do?
What's up?
I think we got the gist of what he had to say here.
I agree.
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts on this whole thing about the Teamsters refusing to endorse either candidate?
The union Teamsters, you said?
The Teamsters. Yes.
Oh, they're not endorsing either candidate?
The International Brotherhood of Teamsters are not endorsing Kamala Harris nor Donald Trump. And
Oh,
there's
okay.
a reason why they went up to both candidates asking them, if we did a general strike, will you support us? And both Trump and Harris gave the union the similar answer: absolutely not.
Right. That's
And
like what PHX Cisco said right there, like pretty much just said it for me. It like when people say vote blue no matter who, when it talking about unions saying that Trump's not on their side, does nobody remember the railroads? Just, within the last couple of years, the railroad union workers literally went on strike all the way up to where the president told them that they had to go back to work.
that was the straw that broke the camel's back when it came to AOC. Until then, I was critically supportive but angry with her. And when she voted, actually, what happened was Bernie Sanders put a bill in the U.S. Senate, a decent bill to settle the strike, because it was supposed to be, it was like a certain timeline, and then Congress was supposed to go and draft a contract or whatever. Well, Bernie Sanders had a bill that basically said 7 sick leave days for workers, rail workers. Well, it got introduced to the U.S. House of Representatives, and AOC, a member of Democratic Socialists of America, a DSA member, a socialist, everybody knows that about her, voted, basically rejected a Bernie Sanders bill. And essentially she busted a strike with her vote. And I was just like, that's unacceptable. I mean, Kashama Sawant was calling on DSA to have these folks expelled, and well, DSA at least did not endorse her. That's promising on their behalf, and they've been going downhill in a lot of ways for years. But that was actually good on their part. I we would come out Shama Sawant have some of the members of the squad kicked out for what they did, except for Rashida Tlaib. Rashida Tlaib was with the strikers, so in that regard. But anyway, Teamsters, they I mean, it is a conservative union in a lot of ways. It is a conservative union, but they are also very serious, and they do have better contracts than a lot of other unions. Anyway, I'm rambling, but anyway, so
Right. No, you're right. I'm really proud of that union not endorsing anyone. Like I always say, though, I'm so tired of hearing who endorses who, because it doesn't matter. Either one of them are going to win anyway. But good for them. I'm glad that they finally found their red line.
Yeah, it's a red line that I do endorse. And I mean, and here's the thing: a lot of I live in the South, so there is an anti-union mindset built in the culture down here. And so, and the last job I had was unionized, and I worked for that job for 20 years. And I will defend unions to the day I die, because I have a pension waiting for me in 4 years. That I can, at 59 and a half, I can draw my pension. So I should be having a boost to my income and my overall economic well-being just shortly before I retire. And so the point that I'm trying to make is, you have people in a right to work state that don't like unions, but they reluctantly join. And they're not ideological, radical leftists like some people paint them out to be.
Right.
I have gone to union meetings, and I'm the crazy man. I was the crazy man. The only person that respected my take on this when we were talking about drafting the contract, I went out drinking with the local president, and he was telling me that they were putting me down at the union meetings, but no, you're right. You were absolutely correct. And he worked with a bunch of incompetent business agents. I mean, they don't know what the hell they're doing. If they were all like the local president, it would be a hell of a lot better union. It's one of the weakest. Not just USCW is not just weak, but the local I belong to was one of the weakest in the entire country. Local 204. So,
damn.
Yeah, I mean, I still supported them, and they did protect your job and all that. I had to go to them twice and to have a write up expunged from my record, and I was having problems with another department head who think he was who was basically ordering me around and making my work difficult, throwing stuff at me that doesn't belong to me. And I had to go and get that resolved. But I hear people say, well, why don't you just go and talk to the manager? It's an open door policy. They try to make management and they try to make, those in charge folksy. And I just don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
Yeah. I'll share one more thought. And so I remember when they were talking about there's a realignment between the two parties and the working class are now pro-Trump, which I agree. There are probably a lot of working class Joes in the Republican Party now in the ways that it used to be. But the dirty little secret is that those on the top, these Republicans, are not going to do shit for them.
Nope.
Yeah. They can sit there and do the makeover all they want. But if you can't do something as basic as support a minimum wage increase or even a public option, you're not a working class party. And this populist right thing is a farce.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. So let's see what we got here. Let's do one of your stories.
Okie dokie. Let me pull one of them up. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Okay. Here we go. So this week we decided to execute a guy who had no DNA evidence. It was all circumstantial evidence. We decided to execute him after keeping him in prison for 24 years. This is kind of one of the main reasons as to why I do not agree with the death penalty, because if there's only even a 1% chance of somebody dying wrongly accused and being executed by our government, then that means that there is seriously something wrong with our justice system. So here is Marcellus Williams and NBC's take of the execution of this man.
Missouri executed a death row inmate named Marcellus Williams by lethal
You can hear it?
injection. Now, Williams was death over the 1998 murder of newspaper reporter Felicia Gale, and the execution coming hours after the U.S. Supreme Court denied a stay of execution, just a day after the state's governor and the Supreme Court both denied clemency to Williams as well. And all this after a prosecutor from the original trial said Williams was innocent, claiming no evidence actually tied him to the crime. Williams's execution was one of 5 scheduled in the course of a week across the country, the first one being Freddie Owens in South Carolina this past Friday. NBC's Yasmin Vasukian has been following this story. Yasmin, can you tell us the latest?
Yeah, that's even another thing too. Like, they're on this spree right now this week of just executing a buttload of people. I guess like this is how they do it, is they chunk a lot of people in a short time and then wait again and then chunk a bunch of people and execute them again. So these are all the people that are being have been executed this week, and Marcellus Williams is one of them.
That's right, Gotti. The third in Missouri this year, the 100th execution in the state since executions were reinstated back in 1989. 5, by the way, in this week alone across the country. We're talking about Missouri, in which Mr. Williams was executed just a couple of hours ago by lethal injection. Alabama as well, Oklahoma, South Carolina, Texas. The timing of it all, right? You ask, why are all 5 of these executions happening in this week alone, is really just happenstance in the decision-making process by some of these kind of state Supreme Courts. I will say, though, the argument that was being made by Mr. Williams' attorneys to the Supreme Court to, in fact, stay this execution was waiting to a decision till a decision was made by a similar case as they saw it that was going to be argued in front of the U.S. Supreme Court on October 9th. A statement that was made by the Innocence Project saying this, and I quote, "This closely resembles that of Richard Glossop, who remains on death row in Oklahoma because the state court similarly refused to accept the state's confession of error." If you remember, just yesterday, the state Supreme Court in Missouri essentially did not accept the prosecuting office's admission of possible error in Mr. Williams' case, hence why we are here today. Mr. Williams losing his life to execution by lethal injection just a couple of hours ago amidst a huge week of executions happening, Gotti, across this.
So freaking sad. It's super depressing to see what our justice system has come to. They wouldn't even relook at the evidence to see. They just were like, "Not what? Let's just get rid of him. Let's just kill him." It's disgusting.
Yeah, I'm a lifelong opponent of the death penalty. I mean, since I was a kid and I understood the concept of capital punishment, I was offended. Even as a little kid, I was offended by it because again, there's the wrong person argument. That's the most compelling.
Right.
Like Marcellus Williams there, what if you get the wrong guy? You can't bring him back. You can't bring him back, and all. And people just dismiss that. And it's so obviously racist. And even if it's not, I mean, it is racist. I mean, I'm not saying you're a racist, you support the death penalty, but the outcome, the actual existence is racist in practice.
Right.
It's also classist because
Thank you. Yep.
There's a lot of white folks who are poor. They're also disposable in their eyes, and so even if you made the death penalty race neutral and you perfected the system that the person being executed is not because of race, I would still oppose it because I don't like the idea of the U.S. government exterminating another human being. I don't care who you are.
Right.
Yeah, and it violates the 8th Amendment of cruel and unusual punishment. And I think it was like the 14th Amendment. The language dealing with involuntary servitude and slavery. I think it connects with that. So I say abolish the death penalty completely. Totally.
I agree. I like the most compelling case. If there's even a 0.0001% chance that one case is going to get it wrong and there is one single innocent person that is going to be executed by our country illegally because they are innocent, I don't want it. Not at all. It's either perfected or nothing. This is people's lives we're talking about. This is human beings.
Yeah, I mean,
and while they're out there murdering, an innocent person on death row, the real killer is still out there doing what they do.
Yeah, I mean, you hear the pro-lifers talk about the culture of death because of abortion or what have you. The culture of death is the death penalty. The culture of death is having a healthcare system that says we're only going to go and treat you if you got the money. If you don't have the insurance, you don't have the money. Fuck off. That's the culture of death. Not this abortion and people having gay sex. That's not a culture of death.
No, not at all.
Yeah, I mean, what's the culture of death is an economic system that's rigged against ordinary folks.
Yep, absolutely. While front facing that they're here for us.
Exactly. So, anyway, you think you said you had another story?
I do. I have uno más. So this is actually at the end of a documentary from TRT world exclusive. It's called Holy Redemption: Stealing Palestinian Land. And you guys go and look at it, TRT world or something like that. I've only been able to watch some of it so far, but this part right here really got to me. Oh shit, hold on. Share, start at the time, because I don't want to show the whole thing because it's like a long ass documentary, but I did want to show the last little bit of it to show you guys what the next steps are that they're doing in Israel and Gaza and the West Bank, things like that. This is disgusting and just kind of adds to another layer of how cruel they are and how they see Palestinians and people in Gaza as not even human. This is it's actually kind of like a freaking, it's like a show to me, it seems like. So I'll just show you guys and then we can talk about it. Let me bring it up. There it is. All right.
Our journey across the occupied West Bank is coming to an end. But there's still something important to cover. We were invited to a closed-door conference. We left Jerusalem, heading to Yavin, just a step away from Gaza. The main settler organizations are holding a conference near the border to select the first Jewish families to settle in Gaza. We are the only media invited to cover it.
ברגע שאני שומע את אותם הפצצות בעזה, אני מרגיש שהעם שלי חזק. משמידים את הרע בעולם.
As we hear Israeli bombs falling on Gaza, they already discuss how much land each family will take, and the destiny of the people of Gaza, the exile.
This is allowed to deport them. It's our land. God willed it for us to settle. It's a good place to raise children. It won't be crowded. It's going to be spacious. Not one, not two, not three. None of you. Why do we let them sleep in peace? You will not sleep in peace. I will not let them sleep in peace. Gaza is ours.
That same night, while Gaza is relentlessly being erased, they took a boat with the first families, ready to occupy the land of those who are being killed and starved to death.
So the movement is to get close as possible to Gaza, to observe it and to understand that from now on it's going to be completely Jewish.
בעזרת השם, עם ישראל ינצח ונזכה לבנות ולראות בשוב השם לציון ובשוב עם ישראל לחבל עזה.
Crazy. Little kids. Kids. So that's the newest thing that they're doing out there, is any kind of Israeli settlers that they're planning on moving into Gaza once all of this is done. They're actually out there at nighttime taking boat tours to watch Gaza being bombed to smithereens, like it's a show, like it's this beautiful, amazing thing that they get to sit there and watch happen so that they can take over the land and build their own homes on top of all of those dead bodies. It's, that's one place that still shocks me.
The beautiful thing about social media and is that while we're still the most propagandized country in the world, without question, I think a lot of people realize what's going on. They used to just say, "Oh, that's not happening over there. No, no, you're just being anti-Israel, what have you." And they'll do that bullshit, throw the bigotry card at people for criticizing Israel, and people are seeing it for themselves. Um, what's going on and how unacceptable it is. And you know, just just but people for many years you have a media that was sitting there just trying to paint a different picture, make Israel always look like the victim, and you just have these in their eyes these barbaric people trying to just pick on Israel all the time, and social media is realizing that's not what's going on.
Right.
And all that. And still you got people who are resistant, and you criticize Israel, they'll still burn an asshole into people and everything. But um
Right.
I am glad to know that most Jewish people, probably even more so than their Christian counterpart, are not happy in this country what's going on over there in Israel.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. What is
this
it going to take to stop them, though?
because it's not an anti-Semitic thing. It's not an anti-Semitic thing. Most Jewish people do not approve in this country of Netanyahu,
Right.
and they do not approve. They may support Israel, a lot of them nominally, but without full understanding. But they don't. They're not happy with what's going on over there in Gaza. They think this is awful and this is evil. And the evangelical Christian who sits there and watch John Hagee on TV all the time, they hate Jews, but they go virtue signal how much they love the Jewish people, and all they want
Right.
is to start World War III. They want Iran and Israel to shower each other with bombs,
Yep.
and
That's right.
and some that I don't believe in I don't believe in their theocratic interpretations, but it's like they want to force a self-fulfilling prophecy, if that makes any sense.
Yep. They absolutely do.
Yeah.
And I don't understand how they're able to get away with it. I mean, technically it's a theocracy, but they're literally wanting to get rid of anybody that's not the same color or religion as them and turn it into a complete Jewish state, which is an ethnocracy, I believe is called, which kind of was at the beginning what, Hitler was doing. I mean, people get mad when we're trying to say what they're doing right now is comparative to what Hitler was doing, but policy-wise, I'm not really seeing much of a difference. And then now they're going off with, bombing in Lebanon and killing the leader of Hezbollah. And they're expanding. This is expansion. I don't understand why nobody sees this.
Well, I like to go and pop a ice cube in their bowl of hot soup when they say when they get mad about the Hitler comparison, because Cambodia, the Khmer Rouge exterminated over 1 million people, and it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with Cambodia, the Cambodians, but only what's wrong with the people on the top that was doing this. Same thing in Israel. There's nothing wrong with being Jewish, but there's everything wrong with persecuting the Palestinian people. And
Right.
and doesn't mean that every so yeah. I mean, I know it's uncomfortable to say that. I understand how it sounds uncomfortable and insensitive, but be a Palestinian, knowing what they're going through each day, their lives do matter too. Everybody's lives matter.
Right. I think what we need to do as well is stop putting Hitler himself on a pedestal as this great, super crazy, really, like unhuman-like torturer when throughout the world history, there's been tons of people who were just as bad as Hitler. I mean, Vlad the Impaler stuck, people's heads on spikes out in front of his front yard there was thousands of people's heads on his front yard on spikes, and he was a real man, We got to stop, like I said, we got to stop putting Hitler himself on this pedestal and realize that it is people in all different factions all over the world are capable of and have been capable of doing really bad things to human beings in the seeking of power.
Man's inhumanity to man. And that's just another example of man's inhumanity to man. So there's always been all kinds of genocide around the world, and look what we did to the Native American Indians in this country, and my God, look what we did to the people.
Slavery. Yeah.
Look what we did with slavery. Look what we did to the people of Iraq in the last 30 some years. Even prior to the Iraq War, I mean, with the sanctions were harming a lot of innocent people that didn't ask for trouble.
Right. I agree.
Yeah. So, let's see. Any plans during? Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, do you have any plans during the week?
Probably just gonna be gaming, hanging out, chilling, maybe doing some streaming. Go check out my channel. I think I'm stuck with my name for like another 3 months. I'm not sure, but if you want to find me over on Twitch, it is Deep Dish Jimi as of right now. I'm still trying to figure out a name.
Okay, well, a name will come up. So
one day. So look for me on Twitch, Deep Dish Jimi. I will be streaming some throughout the week.
And let's see what else I was going
to
say.
You?
I think we have a show on Tuesday with the VP debate.
Oh yes, that's right. That's right. The VP debate. Yeah, Jimmy Gore is next. Actually,
And of course, I'll be streaming throughout the week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Shane's coming back on my show on Thursday to talk our third installment of MMT.
All right. Yeah, come and check us out Tuesday. We are going to be streaming the VP debate. Whoop, whoop.
Absolutely. That's going to be fun. I'm trying to think if I should have a drink or two while we're doing this.
Of course you should.
I think I might do that.
You should. I'll just get really high. I'm done drinking. I don't drink anymore.
Yeah, it's not legal in North Carolina yet. So to weed.
Smoke. Right.
Yeah, it's not legal yet. So even that's not stopping me from
yeah. Right. Yeah, exactly. Good.
But I promise when it will happen, North Carolina is going to legalize it. And when they do, I'm going to buy some weed and I'm going to smoke it on the air.
That's right. Good. As you should, because you deserve it.
Exactly. I'm trying to think the last time I smoked weed.
Right, Rick, you're going to need a drink, Willy, for sure with this debate. This is going to be interesting.
2000.
I think we should make Willy take a drink every time somebody says you're weird.
Well, there's been a lot of weirdness.
Yeah. So if every time somebody says the word weird, you have to take a drink, Willy.
Why are they so mad about being called weird? They've called the Democrats a hell of a lot worse names than just being weird.
Because they can't handle it. They are getting seriously fucking triggered from it. And do you know how funny this is? I love it. All that backlash against people being called weird. They're like, I'm not weird. They're triggered because they fucking know they're weird. Men hate that. You don't humiliate men. Like, that's the one thing that women, like, being a second-class citizen as a woman, you were taught growing up in the conservative realm is don't humiliate your man. And that humiliates them. And it's fucking funny. I'm here for it.
Yeah. I just hey, they are triggered. I'm like, looking
they are triggered.
Yeah. It's like, I know what it is. We get to insult our political opponents, but they better not criticize us. That's right. That's literally what they think.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
You just got to keep laughing at them and keep it going because obviously they don't like it. So, yep.
Yeah.
You're good. We're going to make you drink for every dog and cat every time they say dog or cat. If JD Vance is wearing eyeliner, you need to take a drink.
Oh my God. And sometimes he look like he's wearing eyeliner.
He does. Oh my God, he does.
Yeah.
I hate the way that he stands. He stands like a gorilla. Like his shoulders are hunched forward and his hands are in front of his knees instead of to the side where they need to be. Next time when you see him standing there getting an interview, he's got that like weird, like hunch over weird stance. Oh, I hate it. Oh, I hate it. He drives
I'm
me
gonna
crazy.
take a look. I haven't noticed that, but I'm gonna take a look next time. See
Yeah.
him.
Watch
Yeah,
him. Telling you.
we'll do that. So,
I like being weird too. I am myself strange and unusual.
yeah, I mean, I'm kind of weird. I mean, I've always
Yeah.
I've always stood out.
Yep.
I mean, I was weird growing up. I was weird at family reunions. I mean, when I go to the family reunion, when they used to have it, I was like, I was like the odd duckling in the family,
Yep. Same.
Yeah, so
I like it.
I mean, it's not entirely negative, but but
Right.
it's just like yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
It's a term of endearment for me. I like it. Keep calling me weird. And that's why I think they're triggered is because they're not used to being called weird. They're the ones used to calling us weird and they're getting it back at them and they can't handle it.
No, they've called us worse than weird.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I'll take it.
Yeah,
Call me a
everything.
cunt. I'm here for it. Call me a bitch. I'm the number one bitch.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just
Call me a slut. I'll fuck your mother.
wow.
I'm just
Wow. I didn't see that one coming. No,
gotta keep you on your toes, Willy.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But yeah. So anyway, I guess we'll tell everybody, stay high.
Stay high, free Palestine, and we will see you on Tuesday. Tuesday.
Yeah, let's just say at a time to be determined because and
When it starts, yeah.
yeah, I'll tell you why when we're done here.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All
All
right.
right, you all. Thank you guys. Peace out. Love, peace, chicken grease. Love you all. Bye-bye.